Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, will see the return of an iconic villain, if not the main villain, of the Skywalker Saga, Sheev Palpatine, Darth Sidious, the Senate, whatever you want to call him, he's back. And I personally, as someone who hasn't been a big fan of the sequels, and as we know, a lot of Star Wars fans have had mixed feelings on the Star Wars sequels so far, someone like me who hasn't been a big advocate for him and hasn't been a fan of him, I'm really looking forward to the return of Palpatine and how they will pull it off. But my big question is, how is the story going to end with Palpatine? We have the story of Rey and Kylo Ren, the Resistance versus the First Order, the dark side versus the light. That's stuff we've seen before, but Palpatine is coming back in Star Wars Episode 9. And I would caution, and I'm afraid this is going to happen, I would caution the writers, that Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams, to simply kill him off. Again. Because let's be honest, there's a few possible outcomes we have here. We have Rey defeating Palpatine, we have Kylo Ren defeating Palpatine, or we have Rey and Kylo Ren teaming up and defeating Palpatine. Now, I don't know which one's going to happen, but let's just say they defeat Palpatine. One of them defeats Palpatine. If it's Kylo Ren, let's say Kylo Ren does the story arc that I wish he would do, and he kills Rey, he becomes really powerful in the dark side of the Force because he is part of the Skywalker bloodline, and therefore he kills Palpatine later in the film and kind of redeems himself in the eyes of the galaxy. Well, not redeems himself in the eyes of the galaxy, but he redeems himself but goes into exile, whatever. You can do a story arc like that. Or we have Rey defeating Kylo Ren, and she's really powerful, so she defeats Palpatine. Or both of them decide that they need to team up to defeat this bigger evil, which is Palpatine. Cool. Let's say that works. The problem is, though, you bring back Palpatine just to simply kill him off at the end, and a lot of fans, including myself, are going to look at Return of the Jedi and say, okay, well, that's exactly what happened in that film. If Palpatine came in, you killed him off. At the end of the sequels, the question is going to be, well, then what was the point? What was the point? If Palpatine's brought back, and I'm completely fine with him being brought back, because as J.J. Abrams said in a recent interview that he doesn't know of many books where the main villain isn't in the last chapter of the book, has no impact, and he's right. He's right. Palpatine being brought back is completely fine. It feels a little out of left field. I'm pretty confident they're going to try to make it into a cohesive story and make it make sense, but to be fair, in episodes 7 and 8, I saw absolutely not even close a single hint at Palpatine returning. Now, maybe I watch Rise of Skywalker and I go, oh, okay, actually, I see what they were laying the groundwork for. I see the hidden details in the other films that I didn't see up until this point. But still, the question still remains, is Palpatine going to die at the end? Is he going to lose? I think an interesting arc would be Palpatine winning. I think it would be a really interesting story if Palpatine ended up winning the entire battle and not only survived, but won at the end of Episode 9. And then, 5 years later, Star Wars Episode 10. You didn't see that one coming, did you? Not only is the Skywalker Saga ending, but the story of the Skywalker Saga isn't over. Yeah, I see that? Alright, let's be honest. We know that's not going to happen. Let's be entirely honest with ourselves here. They're not that fucking bold. Disney and Lucasfilm are not going to pull a quick one on us like that. But if they did, my god, I would applaud them for being different, for making a different ending to the sequel than what we would expect. Personally, I do think Palpatine should win, but just because I feel like if he loses, it's a story that we've already seen before. And a lot of fans, including myself, are worried that if Palpatine comes back and loses to Rey or Kylo Ren or both of them, it's going to feel like the story arc of Luke Skywalker and the story arc of Anakin Skywalker are kind of pointless. Now, the former isn't entirely accurate. I think the story arc of Luke is mainly him redeeming his father in Return of the Jedi and becoming a Jedi like his father. Now, I do think that entire story arc was ruined in The Last Jedi with him becoming a coward and fearing his nephew and basically setting up the entire fall of the Jedi Order and ruining everything for the galaxy while he just saved it 30 years prior. But still, Luke Skywalker's story arc in the original trilogy isn't ruined if Palpatine comes back, because his story was meant to redeem his father and become a Jedi like his father. Sure, but Lucas has always said that the story of the Skywalker Saga, the story of episodes 1 through 6, is about Anakin Skywalker. The rise of this young child, a 9-year-old boy, becoming a Jedi, the greatest Jedi who could have ever lived, and he never really met that potential, but he eventually fell. It was a tragedy. It was meant to be a tragic moment to watch Anakin become this Dark Lord of the Sith when he comes off as this innocent 9-year-old boy in The Phantom Menace. Now, execution's another story in that, but still, the story of Anakin Skywalker is the rise and fall of him, and then the rise again. He comes back at the end of Return of the Jedi and redeems himself, not in the eyes of the galaxy, but in the eyes of his son, which is more important to him than being redeemed in the eyes of the galaxy, which is completely fine and fair. But if you bring back Palpatine, and you kill him off again with Kylo Ren and Rey, it makes Anakin's sacrifice seem a little less meaningful. It almost makes a lot of what the original trilogy did seem a little less impactful. You look at the end of Return of the Jedi, and it's such a happy ending. Everything is at peace, the world is in balance because of the light side that had won, and then you're telling me 30 years later, oh, Palpatine's back and everything kind of starts anew. Sure, we have a lot of possibilities in storytelling with Episode 9 that could potentially work with Palpatine's return, but still, if we ruin the arc of Anakin, and if we ruin the impact of Luke, which I think has already been ruined, and that's just my personal disdain for The Last Jedi, I feel like we're missing the mark here. I feel like Palpatine should have a really big impact on this film, not just returning, explaining his return, and letting him survive this, and possibly continuing the story even afterwards. And I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy with that, but still, it's kind of odd having this character return when we all know it's not like he's going to win at the end. I mean, let's be honest here, other than myself, I guess, and me just being the king of wishful thinking here, how many of you really think Palpatine is going to survive and win at the end of Episode 9? It just doesn't make sense for the story of Star Wars, unless they try to do something really bold and crazy and make it where the ending of the Skywalker Saga is actually a tragedy. The Sith return. I'm up for it. I'm up for a shocking ending like that. One of the great things about Revenge of the Sith is that it is a tragedy. It's meant to be a tragic film to see this character, Anakin Skywalker, who was supposed to be the good guy, become the bad guy. But with that film, we already knew going into Revenge of the Sith back in 2005 that Anakin was going to become Darth Vader. It wasn't much of a surprise or a reveal to know that he was falling to the dark side. It'd be a lot better of a story, in my opinion, if Palpatine won. Let's say Rey and Kylo Ren team up against Palpatine, or Rey does it, whatever, and he turns one of them into the dark side completely. Let's say he turns Rey into the dark side and has her kill off Kylo Ren. Then you have the ending of the story right there. Jesus, that's shocking. Is it going to happen? Absolutely not. But what are you going to do with Palpatine? Are you really going to kill him off again? You bring him back just to kill him off again? If he gets killed off again, then yet again the question is going to be, what was the point? What was the point of bringing him back just to kill him again? I think if they do kill him, it'd be a lot better of a story if they would have just kept it between Kylo and Rey. But tell me your thoughts. Should they kill off Palpatine at the end of The Rise of Skywalker? Should he live? Should he win? Should he lose? I personally think for the sake of doing something bold, new, and different and going to a completely different part of the Star Wars universe, I think Palpatine should win. I really do. Am I going to be disappointed if he doesn't? No. I'm pretty confident I know how this story is going to end. But still, I think it'd be a lot more interesting of a story to explore to see Palpatine live and survive through this film. But maybe they throw me a curveball in The Rise of Skywalker, and maybe I like him being defeated again. You tell me your thoughts below. Give me your discussions. I'd love to hear it. I'm Star Wars Only. Please like and subscribe to this video and this channel. I'll see y'all next time. And may the Force be with you, always.